Hi everybody and welcome back to I Love My STEM Career. This is our two-day event taking place over the mornings of the 21st and the 22nd of February during the Northern Ireland Science Festival, and we are highlighting very cool, very exciting STEM-focused career opportunities and pathways for teenagers and young people. So next up we have got Graham. So we've got Graham Curry, who is the founder of Handicaddie, which is a platform for digitising golf caddying. Do we have any golfers in? Any of the gals play golf? No. Oh, we've got one golfer.
There, yeah.
Caroline, our last speaker, is a golfer. So I'm very excited about talking to you, Graham, because I'm a big sports fan. I love golf. So I always think anyone who combines kind of technology and their passion is very cool. So you're in a wee bit of a different position to some of the other people here today because you're like me, you work for yourself. Mm-hmm. What would you say are the best and worst things about being your own boss?
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons to it, definitely. I think the best thing is just working in something that you're so passionate about. And obviously, like, I grew up playing golf. I maybe started golf when I was 13, 14. Mm-hmm. So having sort of that direct link with I'm solving a problem that directly affected me, I think that's the most fun thing. I guess the challenge with it, it's sort of, again, the opposite. It's like you're your own boss and no one's going to tell you what to do. So in those days, it can get lonely when you're sitting there in front of the screen going, what on earth am I doing? Like I'm trying to solve this problem. Like, people think I'm maybe crazy for trying to put this solution in, especially golf. It's very archaic and very old-fashioned, and people will be like, we've done it this way for, so many years. Why does it need to change? But I think it takes those people to sort of stand up and say, there's actually a more efficient way, or maybe a better way to actually do things. So I think as long as your mission is rooted in the passion that you're doing the right thing, I think that stabilizes you, and it gives you the confidence just to keep going. Yeah,
and I think people who are watching who maybe don't play golf and things might not know how much of a hassle the caddying side of it can be. And I remember my dad telling me his first job when he was like 12 was as a golf caddy. He loves golf as well.
Very good.
But it is an effort. Like, it is a big deal. So just for the people watching, tell us how exactly your platform works. What's the benefit? Why is it a problem?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's not maybe many caddies watching, so just sort of to give a bit of an insight in the industry. So caddying essentially is it's arranged sort of on a walk-up basis. So if you think about like maybe a taxi rank, like whenever you get a job as a taxi man, you're going to get it on an Uber or an app, whereas caddying very much is, I have a job at 12 o'clock, I get a phone call maybe half an hour before, and then rushing down to the golf club. And then the other side for golf clubs, there's a lot of administrative work to go on. So for each day of arrangement, they might have to fill out like maybe 40 or 50 tee times, each with 4 caddies and that. So there's a lot of writing, a lot of ringing around to find people for jobs, which maybe takes up around, in the peak of summer, maybe 3 hours, 4 hours of a golf club's day. So I guess it was out of that inspiration and facing those problems that I decided, could there be a connective mechanism that matches up caddies with jobs and also solves that administrative pain point for golf clubs? So I guess that's where it stemmed from. Pardon the
fun. That's really cool, and I always think the best ideas are the ones where you come across a problem yourself and you're like, oh, I wish this was easier. So it is fascinating. Did you always kind of want to be an entrepreneur, or was this kind of a random thing that happened, or by chance, or what did you expect your career was going to be?
I think whenever I had the idea for the app, I expected it to progress a lot quicker, because like you hear these stories of the unicorns like Facebook and stuff like that. You think like, oh, Mark Zuckerberg just dreamed it up and then the next day he was a multimillionaire. I guess like before I started it, I was sort of going to entrepreneur events just to put my name out there, just to see if it was something that interested me. And then like I sort of did have that light bulb moment where I was just lying in bed one night and was like, right, what am I passionate about, Graham? And it was definitely golf and technology, and I always wanted to find a way to intertwine them. So whenever I thought of the idea, I was really happy. But I think there's an illusion with people in technology that they think it's going to be this quick journey, and once you have an idea for an app, it's going to be out in a few months. I think it was touched on earlier, there's a lot of user research to go into and actually really nailing down the pain points. So I think if anyone's thinking of creating a technology solution, I would recommend it definitely if you're that way inclined. It's just knowing you're in for a 5 or a 10-year journey, and be ready for the ups and downs of it for sure.
It is an exciting journey, and
100%.
I think the cool thing is like you've done it with golf. Like you can do it with literally anything you're passionate about.
Absolutely.
Like music, makeup, art, whatever it might be, which I think is one of the coolest things. So you don't have a tech degree.
No.
That's not your background. So
not at all.
How have you found it kind of creating a tech business, and how do you go about getting that tech expertise on board to help you make this come to life?
Great question, because for people like I couldn't write one line of code at all. I have no idea what's going on in that side of it. But if you have an idea, there's actually a lot you can do yourself without technical knowledge. So there's great tools. There's things called Adobe XD and Figma. So what they basically allow you to do is create like pretty pictures of your app or what they'll look like without actually code behind it. So I pretty much I started on a blank piece of paper, so I drew out like the whole concept of the app. And then I took it onto these tools like Adobe XD and Figma to wireframe it essentially. And then I was lucky enough, I got a bit of funding from Techstar, who's a venture firm in Belfast. And then the benefit was I had them wireframes to then show the developer, so he wasn't looking at me confused, like, what are you trying to build? There was actually like, I had some sense of a concept. And it also makes it a bit cheaper whenever you have something in front of them to go, they don't have to make this really complex spec then. So that was sort of my process, but I'd recommend for non-technical founders, I think there's a lot you can do yourself before you go to outsource it to an engineer.
And even, obviously this is a STEM event, so we're kind of appealing to people who might be considering a STEM career, but you don't always have to have that background. Like, there has to be, all tech companies have, they have creative directors, they have kind of product managers and things who don't have that background. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh, like I'm much more creative, I'm much more artistic, that's not my thing, there's still kind of a very cool role that you can have. Now, the event is called I Love My STEM Career. Obviously, I'm hoping you're loving yours at the minute, but tell us, what has been your favourite thing? What do you love the most about your career at the minute?
I think it's honestly the people you meet, because I think when you go in a journey that's maybe slightly against the grain or slightly different from maybe what is traditionally done by people my age. So a lot of people in my course have gone on to work corporate jobs. Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. But I think when you go and do a sort of a creative line of work, you tend to meet like-minded people. And I think that's the most part, just meeting other founders in their journey. And it makes it slightly less lonely when you can chat to people and go, oh, you faced this problem. I think, again, it probably is the community side of it. And also working with golf clubs and seeing the benefit that I actually provide to caddies, I think that's really fun as well.
And do you think there's been any kind of happy side effects? Because I know whenever I started the job, the hosting that I'm doing now, one of the side effects was you get more confident, and you've already said about community. Have you had any of those kind of positive impacts on yourself quickly before we wrap up? Yeah,
I think it's maybe I was a bit not prone to risk. I would try and avoid taking risks before starting this. But I think it's almost starting a startup. You're like, really, what do I have to lose? And obviously we have a finite time to do things in this life. So you think, why not follow your passion, and why not give it a crack if it's something that you see an opportunity there. The only thing stopping you is just time and action, really. So I think just taking risks, I think, has become more of my characteristic, I guess.
That's probably, safe risks, not generally.
Yeah, exactly. Don't skip school.
I think that's a good way to put it. Just go for it, have a crack at it, and see what happens. So can we say a massive thank you, please, to Graham? Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.